still can't wrap my head around what we're seeing from Victor Wembanyama. He was doing a little bit of everything last night. He was a human highlight reel, and I don't know if anything embodied that more than this play right here. This 360 layup through traffic. What?
What's wild to me is that you're setting pin down screens to free him up so that you can get loose, and then, like, what? These types of finishes, pirouette.
But what I love is that we're seeing his off-season work translate directly to his game. What do we know, right? He worked out with Hakeem the Dream on his post-game over the summer. So how exactly does that transfer over to the game? Well, we got to see it last night.
The scariest sight in the entire NBA is the fact that Victor Wembanyama has embraced the post-game. He learned from the best. That beautiful shimmy shake. You can see the side-by-side right here, the quick pivot, and kissing it off the glass. Wow.
But it's not just the moves in the post, right? He also worked with Jamal Crawford on improving his handles. He's considered one of the best ball handlers in the game, Crawford is. And then check out this dribble sequence from Victor.
Now, Malika, this is when things become unfair. When you're 7 foot, whatever, a million, and then you have a handle like this going between the legs, bringing the ball up in transition. How do you guard that? Even the guy who blueprinted this is shocked.
Yeah, the student becoming the master there, Crawford tweeting out about it. And then at the end of the day, though, this is just another day in the office. Wembanyama cuts inside, dumps it all over your head.
I love how he's playing downhill. Before last year, he'd sit around the three-point line trying to shoot shots instead. But then, of course, this is a guy that's going to be Defensive Player of the Year when he plays the requisite amount of games.
Does it on both ends, drives, hits a tough layup here. Wembanyama finished with 24 points, 7 of 8 shooting. The Spurs moved to 4-0 with a 121-103 win. But Sinead, the numbers, they are just as bananas as the highlights. So let's go in the bonus here, because Wemby blocked a shot for his 89th game in a row. That passes Patrick Ewing for the 4th longest streak since blocks became official in 73-74. He's now 6 games away with a block from passing Mark Eaton for 3rd all-time. And then on the defensive side, he made 87.5% of his shots last night in the win over Toronto. That is the best shooting percentage in a game in his career. He was also plus 35, the 2nd best plus minus in a game in his career. And his spectacular play has led the Spurs to a 4-0 record that's tied for the best start in franchise history. Next up, they host the Heat on Thursday, seeking their first 5-0 start as a franchise. And somehow, that stat is what shocked Wemby.
With the 4-0, Vic, would it surprise you to hear that that matches the best start in franchise history? It matches the best a Spurs team has ever started.
Spurs never went 5-0? No.
Wow.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Because Spurs have the highest win percentage in like the last 30 years or whatever, right? Wow. Wow. Let's beat that record.
It is kind of wild, right, when you think of all the greats that have walked through the San Antonio Spurs door here. But, Brian, we have until Thursday to wrap our heads around this as they chase that record. When we are talking about the single most telling mark of his evolution, you and I were chatting this morning, you said it's not something he is doing, Victor is doing, but rather something that he isn't doing. Can you explain?
Yeah, so last night he did something he's never done before. He didn't take a three-pointer. Not one. Didn't even try one. And Malika, I just want to remind you that last year he was averaging 9 attempts a game. So he's averaging under 3 a game this year. He's gotten rid of 6 three-pointers a game so far. These are all, early season numbers, but he was doing this in the preseason as well. He correspondingly, not surprisingly, is taking 6 more 2-pointers a game than he did a year ago. And so what does that mean? He's averaging 7 more points a game, and he's shooting 60% from the field instead of the mid-40s. That right there is the transition from an all-star player to an MVP candidate. And that is with him focusing on taking higher percentage shots and using his advantage, and that is what the NBA should be worried about.
I mean, Sinead's a Gatorade Player of the Year. That was back in high school.
Yeah.
You're a #1 pick. You're the Wooden Award winner at Stanford. So I'm just going to say this for my girl. She's played against a lot of talent gaps when she was dominating the league. But have you ever seen a domination like this?
Honestly, what it reminds me of, Malika, is my favorite reality show growing up, Fear Factor. There is a tremendous fear factor that is rippling through the NBA based off of what Victor Wembanyama has decided to do. It's very rare that we see a generational talent that makes you think he's changing the game in real time. We got it with Magic Johnson, positionless basketball. We got it with Michael Jordan, the new prototype of the wing. We got it with Steph Curry and what he does with the three-point shot. Now we're seeing the alien, the fear factor, in full effect. He is someone that affects the game. He can knock down shots, but he affects it on both ends, and he's leaned into his strength. Literally, he shoots 45% at the rim so far this season. He deters people. Their opponents shoot 45% at the rim, which is tremendous, top 5 defensively. But then offensively, he shoots 81% in the restricted area. Look at these numbers. This is just 1 week. This is the thing that has literally everyone in fear because he's embraced the aspect that makes him unguardable, and it's very rare. I don't know if we'll ever see something like this again in the NBA.
I don't know what you can draw up, right? Like, I don't know what you can draw up to try to slow him down.
Nothing.
Kobe Bryant called him, right, the game's greatest post defender. Is there anything that you can put on the whiteboard right now?
If you do, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to the people that you're presenting it to. I'll tell you that much. It's nothing that you can do. Here, look, check this out, y'all. 15 to 20 years from now, the GOAT conversation is gonna go like this. MJ, Bron, and Wemby. Those are the 3 names that are gonna come up in the GOAT conversation. Because if this man stays healthy, right, he's going to be arguably the best defensive player we've ever seen. I believe he's gonna win 5 or 6 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Can someone tell me a flaw that he has in his game already right now at the age of 21? I'll wait. You can't tell me because he has none. Offensively, he has the complete package. The Jamal Crawford handles, we saw that in the highlight. The pull-up threes, we're watching him knock that down on a consistent basis. He's excellent moving without the basketball for his cutting, being a live threat at the basket. On top of that, he's starting to go and capitalize in the low post area, mid post area. You could use him as a screener. There's nothing that he can't do. This man has arrived and he has the mentality of a killer. He wants to win. That's what separates him, and that's why I say in 15, 20 years, it's going to be MJ, Bron, and Wemby for the GOAT conversation.
Malika, I remember when LeBron was, after his 4th season, which was in 2006-07, they were 6-7. That my son would be excited about that. In that time frame, they went to the finals that year, and he struggled. He shot under 40% in the finals, and LeBron realized, despite getting his team to the finals, how much he had to improve. He dedicated himself to making over his game, taking it to the next level. He won 4 of the next 6 MVP awards. Might have been even able to win more if you ask him that one. Victor may have come to the realization about how he had to make over his game in year 3 because he's making the changes to his game that make him unstoppable. LeBron found the mid-range and long-range shot. Once he had that, he couldn't be stopped. He became a machine going to the finals. Now I think we're seeing Victor starting to put those things together as well.
Oh, with the hot start, the Spurs, they have an early hold at the top of the standings. And you heard Victor, they're going for that 5-0 start. But they are not alone. They share that top spot with the defending champions because the Thunder, Shanae, they have been rolling. They took on the Dallas Mavericks last night. We're going to pick this one up in the 3rd quarter with the Thunder leading by 5. Chet, watch him here, catches the pass, and then goes all the way to the paint, throws it down.
Yeah, I love how Chet Holmgren is starting the season playing with authority. He is their separator. He's their X factor. Without J-Dub, you have to have someone step up, and he's been that guy.
Over Cooper, so did he capture the flag?
Oh, he did.
SGA, fancy footwork. That tough fadeaway, he gets that one to go. And then later on in the 3rd, SGA, watch him here, gets the steal, takes it coast to coast. You know he's going all the way, Shanae.
Yeah, I mean, how do you stop him? He's so crafty. He finds ways to finish off the glass left and right. No one can keep him in front.
Finish at breakfast, though. Chet, pump fake, drives, passes to Hartenstein for the slam. Sharing is caring.
Honestly, I was like a little disappointed in the defense of the Mavs. They were doing a lot of watching late.
We're going to talk about that. Davis does catch it, banks it in, plus the foul. Mavs cut it to 1 possession here, but then SGA passes it to Hartenstein, finishes the layup. The Thunder, they go on to win this one 101-94 and remain undefeated. Now, the scary thing is, the OKC offense, it's not even clicking yet. The Thunder made just 20% of their threes. It's actually tied for their 2nd worst three-point shooting game since the start of 2024-2025, but they made up for it. They made it 60% of their twos. On the flip side, Cooper Flagg, his struggles, they really continued. The #1 pick, he also injured his shoulder in the opening possession of this game. You can see it right here. Yeah, he finished with only 2 points, 1 of 9 shooting in this game, 2 rebounds, no assists in 31 minutes. And Jason Kidd made the decision to have him spend the majority of crunch time watching from the bench. The Mavs fell to 0-3 on the season, and they're now the sole winless team in the Western Conference. So let's say howdy to our partner, Tim McMahon, who was out in Dallas last night. Tim, how concerned are the Mavericks about Cooper's shoulder? Let's start there.
Howdy, Malika. He's going to get some scans on that today just to be sure, but they don't think it's a concern moving forward. He says he expects to get treatment, continue icing it, and to be available tomorrow night against Indiana. And, you know, like you said, he played 31 minutes after injuring that shoulder. He thinks it's just banged up. That was not the reason that he was on the bench for the vast majority of crunch time. It just was not Cooper Flagg's night. He looked like an 18-year-old who was really struggling in the first back-to-back of his NBA career against the defending champions.
Right, of course. It's against the defending champs, so we should mention that, of course, as